Let's try that again. Well, that could be a deal breaker. I have that one bit of hair that kind of sticks up in the back. Hi, I'm Sock Marionette, also known as Bargain Counter Argument, under which name I am available on Instagram. And I am a middle-aged lady in a tiara talking about books, libraries, and related issues. This is an emergency reading vlog. It is Tuesday, March 23rd, I want to say. Sure, March 23rd. Let's just go with that. And I knew I had some library books that are due today, and I knew that I had one that was due on Saturday, and I was fine with all of that, no problem. And today I got word, though, that I have another 2 books that are due on Thursday. So this is an emergency reader versus library due dates vlog, because that got away from me again. Sometimes I'm organized, other times I'm not. So I'm just going to talk about the books I need to read and give a quick overview, and I'll get into the books in detail as I read them. So, due tomorrow, A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire by Sarah Hawley, and Body Check by Elle Kennedy. Now, this book, I have less than 100 pages to go, and this one is just under 300 pages long. It is a republication of Elle Kennedy's, I believe, first published novel, which was published by Harlequin Blaze, which is a line of Harlequin that is no longer around. And so that shouldn't take too long. Then, due on Thursday, God of Pain by Rena Kent, which is kind of cool in a way because my first reader versus library due dates involved the God of Malice by her, which was the first book in this series, and this, I believe, is the second one, so that'll be good. And I also do on Thursday is Grimstone by Sophie Lark. I read Monarch, which is the sequel to this first, but I don't know, I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed other things by Sophie Lark that I've read. It's not terribly long. God of Pain, I get this, is slightly over 500 pages long, and Grimstone is about 306 pages long. And then on Saturday, Confounding Oaths by Alexis Hall. I read Mortal Follies, which is the prequel. This is the sequel to Mortal Follies, and I've read that already. And I've been meaning to read this, and it just kept getting pushed aside because I had other things to do, other things to read. So I got to get to this before Saturday or return it without having read it. Which I don't really want to do that because I have been meaning to read it and I want to get to it. Now, knowing that it was due today, which, I mean, technically I can return it. If I return it before the library opens on Wednesday, then it's not overdue. I may wait until I can return the Thursday books as well, and just be okay with the fact that it's going to be a couple of days late. I'll decide as I go along how much time I have to spare. So that would be the 2 books that are due today are, again, Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire and Body Check. So this one I've already started, and in fact I'm on page 352 out of about 406. So I only have about 50 pages left to go. I even have a candle going with it, which is Vampire Venom Potion, and I will explain that in a second. Let me just read the summary here. Werewolf Ben Rosewood is happy with his life. 100%. Everything is fine. His business, Ben's Plant Emporium, is thriving, and he's even expanding the shop. His anxiety disorder is... well, it's been better, but that comes with the territory of running a business and having beastly urges every full moon, right? As for romance, who has the time? Though his family is desperate to see him settled, Ben is fine approaching 40 as a single werewolf. But after drunkenly bidding on, and winning, a supposedly possessed crystal on eBay one night, he finds himself face to face with a beautiful yet angry vampire. That would be her. Eleanor Betancourt Devereux is a rare breed, a vampire succubus born from two elite European bloodlines during medieval times. Thanks to an evil witch, she's been stuck in a crystal since she was 30, forced to obey orders from the possessor of the rock. Eleanor's been dreaming of breaking the spell and severing the witch's head for centuries. But did the witch really sell her to someone new? And for only 99 cents? Eleanor would claw this werewolf's heart out and eat it, if only the binding spell would allow her. But Eleanor and Ben soon realize they can help each other with both vengeful and less hostile needs. And why not have a little fun along the way? It is fun. I'm here to tell you that I'm like close to 90% done, and it's fun. And the candle, like I said, is Vampire Venom Potion, which I've just used recently and put on Instagram. But this one, I'm selecting it again because, yes, she is a vampire, but also Ben realizes that she has kind of a spicy sweet smell, which is definitely what's going on with this candle. It's basically ginger and fig, and it's really, really nice. I really, really like it a lot. It's lovely. So I have been burning that while I read this, and I will continue to do so. I will update you once I've finished with this book and am ready to move on to a body check. I have no idea what the candle for that is going to be. You will know when I do. We're back for part 2 of my emergency reader versus library due dates vlog, and I have finished A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire, which is due today, although I could return it tomorrow morning before the library opens. And my hair is doing its own thing. This is kind of a casual vlog if you hadn't guessed. I also had some lunch. I roasted kielbasa, cabbage, potato all together. Had that. It was good. Put a little mustard vinaigrette on it. Yeah. Anyway, not spending a lot of time on hair and makeup today. Okay, the next book I'm going to read, which is also due today, is Body Check by Elle Kennedy. Again, this is a reissue of her first book, which was originally published with Harlequin Blaze. Here's what it is about. Hockey romance, obviously. After a childhood spent being dragged around the country by her Let's try that again. After a childhood spent being dragged around the country... Boy. After a childhood spent being dragged around the country by her hockey coach father, Hayden Houston intends to take some time to figure out her future. Whether that future will include her currently off-again boyfriend remains to be seen. What it certainly won't include is the 4-1-night only guy she just met at a bar. It seems hockey star Brodie Croft did not get the memo about being temporary. Big, bold, and driven, he's dedicated in everything he does. Up till now, that's been his team, the one owned by Hayden's dad. But his night with Hayden has sparked something he didn't expect. The two of them are good together. Really good. There's a connection he's never experienced before, one he knows they'd be wrong to ignore. Even with a game-fixing scandal testing both their loyalties to teammates, to friends, to family. Part of Hayden wants to turn tail and run. A complicated relationship with a bad boy hockey player is exactly what she never wanted. But when it comes to Brodie, Hayden is realizing that people can be so much more than what they seem. And like I said, this one is... Actually, it's not even 300 pages because there's an excerpt from a book by Katie Robert called Make Me Yours. This is 284 pages. And it's got very manageable size font. So that'll be next. I anticipate finishing it this afternoon. I might actually have a chance to drive it back to the library and get it turned in without having to cheat the due date. Okay, so I finished The Werewolf's Guide to Seducing the Vampire, A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. I enjoyed it. It was cute. I don't know that I'm necessarily all that invested in reading the other stories in this series, but you know, never say never. So that was that. Okay, so I will let you know how I get on with this and if I actually manage to get it back to the library, like actually on time instead of cheating. We shall see. Okay, it's just about 3:30. It's still Tuesday, which is when these two books are due. Finished this one earlier, and I just finished this one, Body Check by L. Kennedy. And it is not just a reissue of a book that was originally published in 2009. I think earlier I said 2011. I was off by a couple of years. There's actually additional text, and there may have been some revisions as well. I'm not sure. Too reflective. It was okay. I'm not sorry I read it, but it wasn't. It wasn't a super. I'm really struggling to express myself as per usual. I'm not sorry I read it. I finished it. But I think it just kind of was missing that special spark that I've gotten from the other book I read by her, which was Girl Abroad. So I enjoyed it well enough, but I don't rate things, but it would be kind of middling. Okay. But I did finish it, and I did select a candle for it, and it was this lovely one. It's called Cocktail Bar, and it's from DW Home Candles, and the book starts in a sports bar, and they go to various other bars, watering holes, drinking establishments in the course of the book. So that validated that choice. Plus, I just really, really like this one. It's just really nice. It kind of smells like an old-fashioned. Like maybe a little bit of extra cherry. Anyway, so I'm not even managing to blow it out correctly. Okay, there we go. Oh, look at all that smoke. So I finished that one. And I am going to take a quick trip to the library to drop these off. And then when I get back, I'm going to start Grimstone by Sophie Lark. Ooh, it's pretty. I thought I wanted to make her scream, but now I want to make her smile too. It doesn't matter what order. Flexible. Remy Hayes is beginning to think she's cursed. Her fiancé cheated on her, her brother Jude is a major pain in her ass, and the moldering mansion she inherited from her uncle might just be haunted. Ooh, look at it. Flipping Blackleaf Manor already feels impossible even before Remy is blackmailed by Dane Covett. Get it? Covett? It's with 2 T's, but still. Covett? The dangerously hot doctor next door and Grimstone's most eligible bachelor, if you can ignore the fact that everyone in town thinks he murdered his wife. Well, that could be a deal breaker. Remy doesn't want to believe it, especially after Dane sews up a gash in her thigh and steals a kiss in payment, a kiss that makes it hard to walk for reasons that have nothing to do with an injured leg. Ah, scandalous. But as it's Sophie Lark, of course it's going to be scandalous. I don't know what I'm complaining about. I'm not actually complaining, that is. But as the renovation takes a strange and violent turn, Remy must decide if Dane is the one haunting her nights or if he's trying to protect her from something much worse. Okay, so that sounds pretty intriguing. Let's see, what do we got here? This one is not terribly long. It looks like it's alternating POV. I like that. 306 pages. So I almost feel like I should not return the books today because I'll have... Anyway, but I'm going to return these today because they are due today. Or am I? So I'll go ahead and do it this afternoon. I'm already dressed and it's really nice out. So yeah, that'll be fun. But first I have to figure out how I'm going to stage and photograph these for Instagram, and then I can return them. Okay, so I will probably not do another clip until after I finish this book. And I'll update you then on whether or not I liked it and what my candle pairing is and that kind of stuff. Okay, see you later. It's about 12:30 on Wednesday, and I'm kind of scrambling around, getting lunch, and also getting ready for my 2 o'clock live stream. Every Wednesday at 2 o'clock Eastern, I host reading, productivity, napping, whatever sprints. And there's, some fun stuff in between. Usually if I do a haul, that's when I do it, although, not always. Not always buying things, although it feels like it sometimes. Anyway, that's not really relevant to this vlog, except that it is a thing that I'm doing. And so, yeah, I finished Grimstone by Sophie Lark. I felt like there was more plot and character development in Monarch, which is the second book, which I read first. And this one had some plot, some character development. Maybe I'm just like, I read Monarch several months ago, so maybe I just don't remember it correctly. This one was very smutty. Just saying. I, enjoyed it well enough. And yeah, that's a good time if you like that kind of thing. The author's note, I will hold that up on the screen so you can see if that is either a deterrent or an enticement. Ah. Oh boy, the shadow from the tripod and ring light setup is pretty obvious. So anyway, yeah, there you go. Hopefully you can read that. For that one, I chose Haunted House because she's renovating an old house, which may or may not be haunted. Who knows? She doesn't. They'll figure it out by the end of the book. Anyway, that's what I burned for that, and it was good. Then next up, I was going to read God of Pain by Irina Kent. Let me read the back. This is what it looks like. So this is in the, what is it called? The Legacy of God series. I already read God of Malice, which was the first. This was the second. I made a terrible mistake that can't be undone. Cretan King is silent, brooding, and hostile. Annika Volkov loves him. She is his opposite in every way, a ray of sunshine, the life of the party, and constantly talking. What Annika doesn't know is that Cretan's quiet, beautiful exterior masks a dark, hidden persona, a violent one. Cretan knows he will never escape his past, so he takes his pain out on others. It's his only release. He doesn't expect to find any attraction to the girl that is his antithesis. But as Annika attempts to get closer to him, he finds that he enjoys her company more than anyone else's, especially once he discovers her wild side. And now that he's infatuated, she will never escape him. Even if their family's histories are deeply connected in ways neither of them could have imagined. Annika is the light and Cretan is the dark. Will she be able to light the way for him, or will he succumb to the darkness and take her down with him? Now this one, God of Malice, I really had a good time reading. It was just like an unhinged good time. It was just, I understood why Glendon and Killian worked as a couple. Killian, he was a psychopath, get it? Anyway, and I was kind of looking forward to going back to the world of Royal Elite University. Boy, that really, really got me last time. A university that's actually called Royal Elite University. That's, that's something. Anyway, I was looking forward to more unhinged madness, but it was actually kind of dull, and I'm not sure. I think I gave it a fair shot. It did end up being a DNF, which I did give it a fair shot. I read about 100 pages of a 500-page book, so I gave it like 20%, and I was just like, I don't find these people interesting. I don't understand I kind of understood what he saw in her, didn't understand what she saw in him, and I think, yeah, it was just like, he was already acting like he owned her even before he discovered that they had more compatibility than he at first realized, which given his possessive and violent nature kind of makes sense, but I couldn't match I'm trying to phrase this. I didn't jibe with it. There was a mismatch between the book and the reader in this case. Will I give other books in this series a shot? Yes. I think at the time when I finished God of Malice, I said whether or not I read more books kind of depended on who the couples were and what the stories were. And that was the case here. I just didn't find them particularly interesting, but that doesn't turn me off the series as a whole. I'm still interested to read more once a story or characters come along that I find a little bit more compelling than I did here. So it may work for you. I don't know. For that one, I was going to, and I did burn for part of the time I was reading it, the same one I burned for God of Malice, and that is this smoked pepper and rose, which is really nice. It kind of smells like, I don't know if they still do this, but it used to be like when you get like a fashion magazine, like a Vogue or GQ or something, there would be a perfume or cologne sample in it. It smells like pretty much all of those always smelled to me, which is nice and somewhat aspirational, but not totally out of reach. So that was that, and I forgot to bring over the next book I intend to read. There's going to be a magical edit. Okay, so yeah, I'm back, and the next book I'm going to read now, these two books are due tomorrow, so I will be returning them either later today or tomorrow. I've got errands to run, so I'll probably do it tomorrow, because today I'm doing the live stream, as mentioned and promoted already. So this one isn't due until Saturday, and I am going to one of the libraries in the same consortium where this one is due. I'm going there on Saturday for a book and bake sale, which I went last year, and it was very nice. It was the first book and bake sale I'd been to in a long time. And then, of course, I went to a whole bunch after that, but I'm still going to go back. And this is Confounding Oaths by Alexis Hall. This is an historical romantasy. Okay, that was another awkward edit because I went to get reading glasses that turned out were by my side the whole time. Okay. A nobleman must work with a dashing soldier to save his sister from a mystical bargain gone awry in this swoon-worthy romance from the best-selling author of Boyfriend Material. It is the year 1815, and Mr. John Caesar is determined to help his sister Mary successfully navigate the marriage mart. A high-stakes endeavor at the best of times, this task is made slightly more difficult by his family's non-traditional background, the pernicious whims of the ton, and the ever-present complication of living in a world full of scheming fairies and capricious gods. Despite all that, John knows that his parents wish to see his sister comfortably settled. He also knows that the sooner he sees Mary's future secured, the sooner he can get his own wish, returning to an aristocratic life of leisure. That was another awkward edit because lunch was ready before I was, and I had to run downstairs and then run back upstairs. Okay, it's not actually ready yet, but I had to offer my opinion. So, let's see. Despite all that, John knows that his parents wish to see his sister comfortably settled. He also knows that the sooner he sees Mary's future secured, the sooner he can get his own wish, returning to an aristocratic life of leisure. And as for Mary, sweet, sensitive Mary, just wishes gentlemen would pay as much attention to her as they do to her younger sister. When Mary's all-too-literal wish puts her squarely in the sights of a malicious fairy godmother, John sets out to save her. This choice throws him into the path of Captain Orestes James, the handsome, up-from-the-ranks hero of Wellington's armies, and his ragtag band of misfits. That lunch thing really threw me. Together, John and the captain will venture into a vicious world of fey bargains and sacrificial magic as they draw ever closer to rescuing Mary, and to each other. While John is no stranger to casual dalliances with soldiers, okay, until now he's never expected one to last, or wanted one to. He and the captain come from different worlds, and even if Orestes feels the same, John knows there's no point in wishing for something more between them. After all, John has learned firsthand that getting what you wish for can be a dangerous thing. Okay, now this is the sequel to Mortal Follies, which I read several weeks ago, I think. Anyway, I'm going to continue with the same candle I burned for that, which is smoked birch, because there was reference to birch in the other book, and that's what I went with. Yeah, very literal-minded. It was a nice experience, and yeah. So that's what's going to happen. I'm going to be returning these two books probably tomorrow and do some other errands. And I have until Saturday to read this one. Yeah, so I think I'm in pretty good shape for getting that done. I'm really sorry. I mean, it does, whenever I DNF a long book in one of these vlogs, I feel like on the one hand, that does decomplicate my scheduling a bit, but on the other hand, I would have liked to have enjoyed the book, so, you know. Okay, so I don't anticipate any problems with Confounding Oaths. I liked Mortal Follies, and I like Alexis Hall in general, so yeah, that should be a good time. I will update you when I am done. There were problems with Confounding Oaths. I liked Mortal Follies. I enjoyed it, but this one, not so much. The thing is that this is taking place in 1815 in the UK. It's Regency. The narrator, the first person narrator, is not it is Robin Goodfellow, you know, like from Midsummer Night's Dream, which he steadfastly maintains that he gave that play to William, he gave that his story to William Shakespeare, and William Shakespeare turned it into an inadequate play. So it has a very specific narrative voice. Let's see if I can just read a passage to give you an idea of how this character narrates. Okay, he's talking about Napoleon's escape from Elba, which would have been in the news at the time. Then Napoleon had escaped from Elba and begun his march on the capital, which meant that the French, in the eyes of the ambitious mamas of London society, transformed overnight from the people who made the fashionable hats to the people who were trying to shoot their sons dead with muskets. So, you know, that's kind of, you know, I like that paragraph. That's good. However, it just, and Mortal Follies was written like that, and I liked it, but it just, in this book, I think maybe it's a little bit more, like to the point of being too much. Also, this book at 420 pages simply did not need to be that long. I kind of skimmed the last 20%. And there was this whole subplot. The basic idea is that a young woman makes a wish that, and a fairy queen, fairy lady, grants it in a way that she didn't expect and that isn't particularly helpful to the woman who made the wish, the 16-year-old girl who made the wish. And so that needs to be taken care of. But there's this other whole subplot involving a soldier's cult that wants to sacrifice the main character to be more advantageous. I don't know. It was totally unnecessary. It detracted from the overall experience of reading this book. It was a very disappointing literary experience for me. So, yeah. Okay, so now the plan is to go out in this variable lighting weather. The sun keeps coming out and from behind the clouds, and then the clouds go in front of the sun. I'm talking about the sun like a medieval peasant. It's up in there, and it's going behind the clouds, and the clouds aren't going in front of it. And also, it's traveling around us, not the other way around. Anyway, so I am going to go return the books, and I'm returning them to a library which is actually having its book and bake sale, which was the first library sale I went to last year, and it's going to be the first one this year. I've been to some used bookstores and things like that, but not to a library sale yet. And then I'll report back afterward to let you know if I got anything or, you know, how it was. I'm sure it would be lovely. It'll be a good time even if I don't find anything I want to read. And wrap up the vlog then. I did a whole spiel and didn't realize I wasn't recording. Mm-hmm. That was special. Okay, so it's about an hour and a half later, and I don't know if I specified in the first clip, where he's wearing the same outfit, same tiara and everything, that it is Saturday, March 29th. So I was returning those books at Levi Co-Library in Middlefield, which is also having their book and bake sale. And I picked up some baked goods. I got some lemon bars and some triple ginger cookies. They had like ground ginger, crystallized ginger, dried ginger, or something like that. And something called Cape Cod oatmeal cookies, which were oatmeal cookies with chocolate chips and dried cranberries. And did I mention the lemon bars? They came with their own plastic plate, which I get to keep, so that's pretty special. And peanut butter cookies, thumbprint peanut butter cookies, and in the thumbprint chocolate. So that's, I think, I've already had one of the triple ginger, and it was very good. Wish I'd bought more. And I found a lot of stuff at the book sale. I'm not going to do a whole itemized haul because that would take forever, but I am going to point out some things. One is I've been wanting to have my own physical copy of the Dark Tower series by Stephen King, but I want them to be like more or less like the same size. I found the first 3 books, the Plume edition, trade paperback of the first 3 books. I don't know if that continued into subsequent books from the Dark Tower series, but these are nice editions, so I'm glad to find that. And a book I used to have and I got rid of it, and that was a mistake, so I got it again, and that is The Stand for the first time, complete and uncut. So I have my own copy of that. And I think there was another Stephen King, Colorado Kid. Yeah, but I'm not going to get into that. Oh, and another book that I read library copies, but I would like to have my own, but it's kind of expensive and not necessarily easy to find in used format. But I got one for the trade paperbacks were only $1 each, so I got Glow by Raven Kennedy, and I don't remember which volume this is in the Plated Prisoner series, but it's a good start for me having the complete series. Because, like I said, they can be kind of pricey. And then I got a bunch of other stuff, and not going to go into a whole itemized haul here, but you'll probably see it in vlogs, because I got the first book of some series, so I can do a dive in and drop out. Ooh, I just kicked the tripod. That was pretty awesome. I like that. Anyway, so overall, for the books I read for this vlog, I enjoyed The Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. I don't know that I'm necessarily by Sarah Hawley. I don't have the books anymore because, of course, I had to go back to the library. I don't know that I'm necessarily going to seek out the other books that she's written in that series, like A Witch's Guide to Seducing a Demon, but I might. I mean, I really did enjoy it. So I liked that. Body Check by Elle Kennedy was interesting to read. I didn't like it as much as I liked Girl Abroad, but again, it was her first professionally published novel that she then went back and did some stuff too. But, I think even if I hadn't read anything else by her, I would still not go, oh, I can't read Elle Kennedy because that wasn't the greatest book I've ever read. I mean, I finished it. I liked it better than some of the other books I read for this vlog. Okay, so that's, I'm trying to remember what else I had. I had The God of Malice by Rena Kent. Not The God of Malice, The God of Pain. God of Malice I liked. God of Pain I DNF'd because, again, I think that series, it just kind of depends on the characters and the story, whether or not I want to read the books. I don't want to read them just to read them. I didn't feel much of a connection to the characters. I wasn't enjoying myself, and I did give it a good try. I mean, I did read 100 or so pages of a 500-page book, so it's not like I just read the first few paragraphs and bailed. I read Grimstone by Sophie Lark. That was pretty good. It was illustrated. I forgot to show any illustrations, but there was, kind of a kinky relationship, like very kinky, under-negotiated BDSM. And it was something that, it was okay to read. I enjoyed it well enough. It wasn't my favorite book by her, but it was fun. And then I read, I think, Confounding Oaths by Alexis Hall, which was very disappointing, as I just did that clip this morning, so it's fresh in my mind, and I don't want to repeat myself, even though I have already several times. So yeah, that was not the favorite by him that I've read. No, it doesn't put me off reading other stuff by him by any means. It's just, didn't like it as much as I've liked his other stuff, and I did kind of skim that last 20%. I feel like another thing I should address is the hair. As I was editing previous clips and looking back at them, yeah, I mean, it was like this, I was calling it the emergency reading vlog, because it was kind of unexpected, and I wasn't necessarily interested in paying a lot of attention to hair and makeup. And I noticed in several clips, and I've seen this in other videos too, I have that one bit of hair that kind of sticks up in the back, like so. Let's see if I can, yeah, that one. And I was watching it and thinking, I keep forgetting to tack that hair down with like hairspray or a bobby pin or whatever. And I look at it, that looks terrible, and people are going to think I'm a slob. And then I remember people are not here to judge my appearance. I mean, people probably do because you can't help it sometimes, but people are not here to quibble about my hair. You're here for books and tiaras. And so, and also I think I made it clear that this was a very casual reading vlog. I mean, I was in my nightie half the time. The thing is that whenever I look at these videos and I'm editing them and I see that hair sticking out and I'm like, I should have cleaned that up. Then I come around on it. The thing is, my dad, of happy memory, had the same problem in the same spot with his hair. And of course, he always kept his hair really short, and his hair is fine like mine, so gravity won't pull it down. When my hair's longer, gravity just pulls it down, but his was like really sticking up, and he'd always be trying to fix it and so on. When I had really short hair recently, a few years ago, for the first time in my life, my adult life, I noticed, I have that. And now when I see it, I do feel bad about it, but then it's just such a weird physical quirk that I have inherited from my father. It's this very specific kind of hair issue that I have in common with my father, and I didn't know it when he was alive because my hair was always so long that, like I said, gravity would pull it down and I wouldn't notice that it tended to stick up. And so when I see it and when I'm trying to remember to fuss with it or forgetting, I just have, it just feels like this really cool connection to my dad. So, yeah, it's a good memory or a good connection. It's not really a memory because I'm living it. But I just remember all the times we'd be leaving for school and work and he'd be like trying to fix his hair. And anyway, it was just a nice connection. I feel like this bit of hair that sticks up is like my heritage. Heritage? Get it? Bad heritage? Mm-hmm. So I just picture this long line of like people going from Scotland to England to North America and like having this hair situation the whole time. I like to think that that's what happened. I like to think that they emigrated to North America hoping that being on a different continent would improve that hair situation, but it didn't. Yeah, that was the emergency reading vlog. I did get the books finished or in DNF'd or gave them a fair shot. Got them all back to the library on time and didn't really check out anything. I have a book on the hold shelf that I haven't picked up yet, but yeah, so I am steadily eroding my pile of library books. I would like to start enjoying the books I've bought and doing some fun things like that, where I maybe ask people to pick my my next read or something like that. I gotta figure that out. Okay, awkward edit. I just edited out a whole bunch of rambling that was not particularly relevant. And so I would like to say thank you for your attention, and I hope you have a good day or night.